Today I have one more way to paint silk without resist or Gutta. To be honest, I have wanted to paint a Central Asian ornament for a long time, and it seemed to me that this motif would be perfect for this technique. But let's go in order. First, I outline the ornament itself. For this I use a disappearing marker. I have already shown it several times, but for beginners on the channel I can say that such markers are sold in sewing stores. While painting silk, they disappear without leaving a trace. The silk is called crêpe de China, and as you can see it's a little tinted, and so the color on it will be a little muted. I have chosen two colors for painting, and then we'll see if I'd like to add some more colors. At this stage, contrary to usual, I will not insist on the variation of colors. It's weird even for myself to say that, because I usually stand for variation and variety. But for now I'm just circling the drawing with one single color. The key is to make sure that the dye doesn't spread out too much, and at the same time that the brush isn't too dry. The width of the lines turned out to be a little wider or narrower. This is good and natural. Here the color is more saturated. Apparently it was diluted less with water. With the second color I just draw next to the first one. To keep the two colors from blending, I paint with the blue color at a small distance from the magenta, although if they mix it's not a big deal. Now perhaps it's possible to cover the compositional center with blue color. And in this place I try to cover large areas with color in another way, with short strokes. And here I use green color. And now I have only water on my brush, so that individual strokes merge. Well, I'm not sure. I don't like this way after all. Perhaps a simpler way is more appropriate. I mean, not with strokes to cover the area, but as if by feeling. Of course, it can be called a feeling only conditionally. But anyway, I paint over it. A rather pale color, but without a lot of water. I've already mentioned that water control is a key and quite difficult thing achieved with practice. And I have a video planned with a very detailed step-by-step practice of it. If you are interested, let me know and I'll shoot it. But mastering it, I mean water control, makes it very easy to paint silk and improves your technique, especially if you are not using resist or Gutta. Well, I filled the field inside the ornament and I will continue to paint the edge in the same way, but this time with greenish color. You see, if the brush is not too wet, you can paint not too large areas evenly enough, without too much dripping. By the way, dyes or paints to use, it doesn't matter. And now the paint should be allowed to dry. And finally, what is the trick? Of course, markers. This marker is not very fresh, so it will not spread quickly or make too wide line. I shared more about detailing with markers in this video. But this time all the detailing will be done only in the vertical direction. And because of this, we'll get the effect of oriental fabrics. You may have met such fabrics. First, I use a semi-dry pink marker to draw on the red pattern. Now I have a fresher marker, and you may remember it from past videos. It has a thinner tip and it's a different shade of red. And I paint over the red ornament again. Permanent and textile markers are suitable for silk painting, and the brand doesn't matter. The main thing is that the color suits well and that they were still more or less fresh. I mostly use the blue marker to draw on blue dye. And I like this gray textile marker. I often use it. You can vary the length of the strokes. I'm talking about variety again, as always. And with the gray marker, you can not only draw on gray background, but you can also go in for red and blue motifs. I also wanted to point out that the tone of the marker matters. And if the dye color is light, a very dark marker will overpower the color. And I also think that the marker line can sometimes be taken beyond the dye. And the color of the markers can be radically different from the range painted by dyes. For example, orange. And you see, I'm pretty free with the drawing. I can combine the shape drawn with the marker with the shape of the ornament. Or I can pretty much ignore what is painted with dyes and create a completely separate story for the markers. I can go orange over blue. All in all, there are, as always, tons of possibilities here. You can stick to one strategy where the marker strictly repeats the outlines of the dye, or you can choose another strategy and not combine the drawing of the marker with the drawing of dyes. You can change the length of strokes from short to long. You can overlap some strokes with other strokes. You can change the color of the markers inside the shape. And eventually you can combine all these approaches. You can use markers to detail only some shapes, not all of them. You can create pictoriality by changing marker colors frequently. In general, there's plenty of room for your creativity. But it's important not to get carried away and not to lose the drawing itself. Anyway, this is an interesting technique, another one that allows you to paint silk without resist or gutta, and I hope you'll enjoy it. It's always great to get your feedback. Thank you if you've already responded. And you also can watch these two videos if you haven't yet.